Hello, everyone. This is Jessica Dawson, and this is the Financial Drag Show. And my co hosts.
Oh, I am Nicole.
And I'm April Fresh.
Guys, welcome to the third episode of the Financial Drag Show. April is back with us. Last week we had Billy Mick. We're hoping you are enjoying the first episode being launched. But today we're going to talk a little bit about some different things, investing, not associated with, doing your normal investing on a platform that invests in stocks. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about venture capital, angel investors, basically doing a crowdfund, which is what we're doing right now as we raise capital for Fisk Mobile Tipping. Nicole, do you want to explain anything according to venture capital and some of the stuff that we've read in the books? And then what is the difference that you've noticed in real world scenarios?
In regard to
Well, do you think it's the same that we read in a book? Reading it in a book's one thing, living it is different. I've got a perspective that is way different from what you see if you are an entrepreneur and you are trying to raise capital, going about investing, get someone to invest in us is different from investing in your normal stocks and bonds and treasury bills and all of that fun stuff. But did you notice anything in the past 2 years, different rounds that were more fun or more difficult? And so, April, when you start your entrepreneur venture, you start off in what they call a friends and family round. And that's Nicole's like to also, what was that other term you said, to beg, borrow, or steal?
Yeah.
And that's where you go to everybody that you know and try to get them to invest.
Gotcha.
Nicole
Most
and
of
I,
these words you say, I don't even know what they mean. So this is very interesting to me, and I
yes,
love
so
it. I love hearing all about it.
right. Well, a friends and family round is that very first event that you go into raising capital. You have an idea or a product. Nicole, we didn't have pretty much, we just had a little bit. I mean, a little bit when we started our friends and family round. I think my mom was actually our first investor. She came in at the end of January of 2022, and Nicole and I have been working on the project for only a month, really hardcore every day, all day. And then we went on a roll. I think we have 12 people come in at one time. Every time we gave them a presentation, they would cut a check. And Nicole and I were both blown away. And Nicole, do you want to talk about how you set it up with the SEC and the designations real quick and as fast as you can? Explain it to April and everybody else watching.
Yeah, and we also have a creative fintech startup channel on YouTube that talks exactly about all this. Right, Jessica? Like I feel
it's the same, but this is probably more detailed since we are talking about finance.
Yeah.
Investing in yourself is one thing. Putting a book inside of your head is one thing. You're going to read a lot, but when you experience it real life, it's different. The first day that I remember when we first started doing some day trading, I was asking you 1,000 questions. How does this thing on Charles Schwab work, and which button does this go, and how fast do I do this? And Nicole's like, "Oh my God, she's so green." And
Does anybody at the backstage or any queens talking about venture capital or investing? Is that a conversation, or is it all about makeup?
It's pretty much makeup and what number you're going to perform next. And not a whole lot about any financial or future, but that's why I think something like this is so beneficial.
Yeah, no, I feel like this is like Untucked mixed with a bit of money management or something. I love that, backstage Untucked RuPaul stuff.
Yes, absolutely.
That's my favorite part of RuPaul was like the Untucked and just like interview style, like hanging out with the queens. But yeah, I mean, like if we can get some benefit out of it, I think that this is really cool. And disclaimer, this is our third episode, so we're not pros at doing this, but we'll get there.
Well, the first time you do anything, even when I'm doing my life coaching, I tell people, if you don't go out and do it, you're not going to know what it's like.
Yeah.
Nicole and I have been in this adventure for 2 years. We started our friends and family round. We are in a pre-seed round right now where we are talking to angel investors and venture capitalists, and those are the people that have a lot more money than Nicole and I have. We need that type of funding in order to create the application and get it a lot further along, because expanding a financial technology company takes a lot of money. It's not cheap. But last year in our friends and family round, we raised over $300,000. Talking to everybody we knew. Nicole gave me numbers, and I'm calling them. She's calling people that we knew, and it was I think the hardest part might have been getting them on a meeting with us. And when they were in a meeting talking to Nicole and I, it was pretty easy, because Nicole and I we can explain how the mobile application works, but going through a venture capital round is not something everybody has done. And people were surprised that we raised over $300,000 on our first attempt. Nicole had to make a designation with the SEC, so a filing. Most of the time, you have to hire an attorney to do that, where it can get expensive. But we raised the money and we started developing the mobile application. And where we are now, we are the different sector, our different area with the crowd fund. And Nicole, do you want to talk about a crowd fund and what that is?
Sure. Yeah, it's just another way to raise funds from a lot of different people, and you can invest in a company for as little as $100 or as much as $2,500, I think. We're going on a platform called WeFunder, and there's a bunch of other platforms, but it's basically startups like us putting it all out there, videos of the founders, pitch decks, and just information about your company to try and entice people to invest. So if anyone wants to invest in Fisk Mobile Tipping, it's possible. Go to wefunder.com/55th degree, and you can get in early and register to invest with us. Or you might find another company out there that you like, but it's really cool that it's sort of like everyone knows GoFundMe or those kind of things, but this is a little bit different, because instead of giving a water bottle from a company you might like, you actually get ownership in the company, which could be very well much more valuable than a water bottle in a couple of years. So yeah, we're excited that we get to raise money from the community that supports us.
Now, is it almost like being a shareholder in the company?
It's not even almost like it. It isn't. That's
Very
exactly
cool.
what it's like. You own part of the company. You are on something called our cap table, which is short for capitalization table, which details all the capital ownership of the company. So April Fresh, I'm not sure if that's your legal name, but if you invested, it would say April Fresh owns this percentage of Fisk Mobile Tipping, which is really cool.
That is cool.
It is. Now, April, if you hear terms that you have never heard before, throw them back at us real quick, because Nicole and I are in this world all day, every day.
Correct. That's, I think, a good role for me too, because a lot of people that are going to be tuning into these videos are in my position, where they're like trying to figure out what you're talking about, but there's just words that they might not get. So
right, it's new vocabulary. Even when Nicole and I were talking to the developers for the first time, they're talking, a certain language, and you have to learn it. The money processor that we have to work with to link the application up to speaks in a different terminology. But with venture capital, the pitch deck is a small slideshow that starts off. It talks about the problem that we are addressing, and how then we're going to solve it. They want to see our financials. They want to see a roadmap of how we're going into market, what the flow of money is, and how they're going to get their return back. They want to look at the team. And that's something that Nicole and I were constantly polishing that up, because we will submit something and they'll go, oh, no, that's not what we want. We want a little bit more, or we want it simpler. And it's nonstop updating that. Now that will be available on WeFunder. It's actually on there right now. One version, I think it might be the 5th or 6th version. It gets up, like I said, it gets updated constantly. Now, today I was downtown filming or practicing my filming for the video. Nicole had me a script, and I was down there at the Citrus Club trying to record it. And of course, I didn't have it memorized, and I ran out of time. So, but it was good practice. I want to do it more in a different background than here in the office. I don't want to have this in the background, but I guess I could.
Hey, April, I'm gonna switch gears, and I really want to talk and get the viewers in the mindset of being backstage at a drag show. So,
Sure.
are there any times where like queens are back there and they're like, oh girl, like, you know, you really helped me with this and this, here's $5, or like, oh, you really, you know, is there any kind of exchange of money backstage for anything, or is everybody's tips and everything, you know, very kind of private, and this is what I earned out there?
It's usually an exchange. So like, hey, I don't do hair very well. You do my hair for this next number, and then I'll give you a cut of my tips. So
I love that.
Kind of something like that. So if I make $20, here's your $5. I'm just throwing numbers out there.
Is there any times where, like, there's, sorry to cut you off, like 2 girls out there doing their thing, and like maybe y'all, you know, rake up $100 and then you go backstage and pie it out?
Yes, especially if it's like a duet situation where me and another girl are doing a number. Whatever tips we make for that one, we'll just split. Or if sometimes something that's become very popular, and I think it's kind of cool, depending on the venue and the show, a lot of the girls at the end of the show will be like, okay, we're going to come up here and we're going to be here for the next 10 minutes or so. If you would like a photo with us, up, and if you have any extra dollars that you don't want to take home because they're weighing you down, just throw them in this bucket. And then we just kind of split them at the end of the show. So that's kind of a cool thing too, because we're not really even doing anything. I mean, to be honest, we would all take pictures with everybody for free anyway. But if they would like to give us $1 or $2, that's even better.
Now, I saw, you know, Sam and Gidget Galore back when they were doing the
at Hamburger Mary's.
At Hamburger Mary's, they would get all their tips, and then they would end up splitting it.
Yeah.
And you know, that's one of the unique things that we want people to know, that they will be able to take those tips to the bar eventually, and then run them from the bar app until Fisk Mobile Tipping, and before they even leave the venue, their money is on their virtual debit card and on the way to an investment account.
That's I don't know if you were here last episode, but we kind of came up with a fun new slogan that I think you'd like, April, and it's cash is king, but Fisk is queen.
Oh, I love that.
Billy Mick was here, and I forgot what led to saying that, but I think that was really cute. Especially once our drag queen family starts using this app. I think that saying "cash is king, but Fisk is queen"
and that is a great marketing line. Oh, I love that.
It's you know, Nicole comes up. She has created so much of the content for Fisk Mobile Tipping. It blows me away how good and creative Nicole is. I couldn't have picked a better co-founder. And now that, you know, April, I'm glad that you're on the co-host, helping run this thing and direct it, to teach people about finance and how to spend money. And I think if you remember, when I came down there to meet you at Savoy,
Yeah,
we were filming our first small commercial about
absolutely.
Fisk, and we were discussing how what we needed in it. And Nicole had given us a few the other girls that have done it, a script, and it took us what, 3 times, and you had it down, and you did that pop
Yeah.
with your fan. But when it was come down to spending tips, a lot of the girls, do they always spend their cash tips, or do they save them? What do you normally do with your cash tips?
I think a lot of if they're at a nightclub or a restaurant, a lot of times the restaurant wants to buy the tips back for larger bills.
Yeah.
Than what the girls do with those larger bills. I don't know what they, but instead of having a stack of, 100 singles, the establishments will usually offer to buy them back because they need more change as well. So there's that. But I think every girl probably has a different thing what they do. A lot of times what I do, my pay, I consider that's going towards my bills. But my actual tips, that can be my spending money. And I feel like that's probably what most people do because they're counting on that $100 paycheck or whatever the money is, the amount is.
Yeah, when I was a server, that was kind of how I operated. And I haven't been a
Yes.
server in like 10 years, but I think I was getting paid $4 or $5 an hour. That's what it was. So I was like, well, if that could potentially pay for my rent, then all these tips are for me to, go out and party.
Correct.
It would be really cool if I could still party,
Right.
have some sort of, security and still party. And that's
Yeah.
so doable.
It
And
seems like that's what every young person wants to do. I blew all my tips when I was a massage therapist on the same thing.
Yeah. I think it's very easy to do, especially when they are just physical cash. Oh, well, let me buy something with this cash.
Yeah. I don't know if it's something that we all just picked up on, that cash is just to spend, or, and Nicole and I came up with the concept of putting it in the system and putting it into an investment account. And believe it or not, you can get some serious returns rather quickly when we get this thing set up.
Yes.
It comes down to be $1 out of $20 if you're on the smallest split, but it's something that people are going to have to look forward to saving, because Social Security is not going to be there for some of those younger people, especially ones younger than you, Nicole.
Yeah.
It's going to be difficult when that's not there, or if they do rely on that, the people are going to be upset when it does go away. And
For
I think
sure.
it's, Fisk is, Nicole and I always tell a lot of people that that's what Fisk is designed to do, is to stop this problem from coming. I think maybe next time when you're on the show, I'm going to do my Doc Hollywood, or is it Doc from Back to the Future on the market, to show you what Nicole and I've come up with to explain.
Can we get like a costume from you too?
If you can get me his from Doc from Back to the Future, his hair, I will wear it in a trench coat.
I like it.
So, heck yeah. I love that.
I don't
What's your favorite like character you played, April?
Well, as far as drag, Cyndi Lauper and Boy George are my moneymakers.
Okay.
Do
you do the song, Do You Really Wanna Hurt?
Of course I do. Of course I do.
I love that song.
Yeah, so good. And I look a little like Boy George, and then my Cyndi Lauper, I love her so much that I have the hair and I have the outfits. And
yeah, Cyndi Lauper, that's a blonde wig, right?
Red.
Okay.
Fire engine
you can
red.
tell I'm a 2000s kid. So.
Exactly. That's
okay.
Hey, it's good to have people from.
I'm not afraid to ask questions, though.
MTV was already over, April. She was into VH1 probably.
Gotcha. Or I mean, music.
Disney Channel.
I love the 80s music. So and to me, 80s is from 1981 till about 1987, 88.
Okay.
So that's the stuff I love.
And that's where you just came from, was an 80s party, right? Like,
correct. A big
what?
80s week-long party in Cancun. It was so much fun.
So you saw Pat Benatar perform?
I sure did. I saw
And does Pat Benatar look good?
She looks great. She is older, of course, and has long gray hair instead of the short brown hair, but still has that same amazing
She's in her
voice. It's so good.
70s, didn't she?
I think she's right around
Yeah.
70. Mhm.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, she was absolutely incredible back in the day, and
Yep, still is.
I would like to know what those, when they were performing back then, they had to have managers managing their money and
Correct.
putting it away. And that's where, smaller performers got to do it on their own.
Exactly. And that's where Fisk Mobile tipping comes in handy.
Yeah. We should have a little plug with
Exactly. I do have one question that I think would be very interesting to the people. I feel like we've addressed it before, but it can't hurt to hear it again. What does Fisk stand for?
There are so many different acronyms. Now, Nicole is wearing.
It doesn't. The short answer is it doesn't stand for anything.
Gotcha.
So
I didn't
Nicole,
know if it
lean
was
back and show your shirt, or stand up a little bit to show your shirt. That is the original name of the application. The day I talked to Nicole, which was December 4th of 2021, I mentioned the application, or was explaining it to her, and we were nonstop on the phone.
Sure.
She came up, she goes, it's got to be called Little Fish. And I didn't care. I just wanted Nicole on the team to help me build this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of cool. A lot of people liked the application, and the reason why it's called Fisk is because Nicole and I thought that we could launch it in Norway at the same time we launched it in. And
we were thinking global. Like we had some people that were working on the website and the graphics that were from Finland and Norway and around Scandinavia, and they kept saying Liten Fisk, and Fisk kind of stuck with me. And I was like, fish. And Jessica talked about how fish is kind of a sign of wealth and prosperity, and I was like, wow, like I like Fisk. Like Fisk is really cool. And then we just started saying Fisk.
That's cool. And here we are today.
It has turned into financial information securities knowledge, friendly, incremental, small. So there was a few other ones.
Gotcha. How neat.
It stands for a lot. Well, I think we could write about 5 to 10 of them down.
Sure.
It gave me 20 to 30 minutes. I could get them all down.
Yeah.
But it means fish, believe it or not.
Very cool.
It's strange. I do tell that story, it being named Fish, and I went to a church, non-denominational church, and one of them this little old lady goes, well, that kind of is odd because you're passing out fish and bread is considered money, and you're following Jesus's footsteps. And I'm like, okay. That's what you want to say. She thought it was very interesting, so it's still cool that it is named Fish. And if someone that saved a lot of people and helped a lot of people out, if that's what we're doing with passing fish out, then that's cool.
I feel like the Financial Drag Show is like a drag reading hour, but for adults, maybe.
Yes, I think you're right.
For people wanting to learn about money. I love it. If I wasn't involved, I would definitely watch, because it's just fun to watch a drag queen talk about anything. So we're so happy to have you here, April. Thank you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Now, Nicole, did you ever do drag before you became Nicole?
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you do different characters, or did you just do into Nicole? Because not everybody knows about how most of the time someone turns into themselves.
Yeah, I was nowhere near a professional drag queen, but I was young and I was hanging around a lot of the gay scene, and I just saw it as a really fun way to make some extra money on the weekend. So I think it was like maybe 6 or 7 months of doing drag. Like I was absolutely terrible, like had the cheapest wigs and the worst. But I was a ballet dancer at the time, so I could move, I was
Right.
flexible, and it's a lot of fun. Like yeah, it's so much fun. And I don't know if it's fun, being a career, but I hope that you still have fun doing it.
I do. I'm very blessed. It's
Yeah.
like when I leave here, I'm gonna go call bingo at a pizza place, and
I
I'm
love
good to
that.
go do it. You know what I mean? It's very
That's
cool.
amazing.
April, did you know that I had a word in the Urban Dictionary?
No.
Dragcation. Can you guess what it means? It actually means to take a vacation. Sole purpose of that vacation is to do drag or cross-dressing multiple days in a row.
Yes, and that could come in many ways. Like I will be taking a dragcation in January where I'm doing a little tour of Virginia that some friends of mine booked. And
What is that movie where it's drag queens going on the road trip?
well, there's two. There's
Okay.
Adventures of Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, which was Australian, and then there was Tu Wong Fu.
Yeah.
To Wong Fu.
Yeah,
Yes.
thank you for everything, Julie Newmar, Patrick Swayze, and
Yeah.
Wesley Snipes and John
Is
Lithgow.
that going to be your trip to Virginia?
I don't think it'll be quite that.
Okay.
I'm hoping it's not quite so. Oh, what's the word? I hope it's a lot smoother than what they had
Yeah.
to go through.
Well, do you ever find people out there that are, of course, you have those people that don't like the drag queens? Do they ever pop up at the bars that you are visiting?
Rarely.
How
And
do you
I
not like drag queens? Like it's
Yeah,
just fun.
exactly.
Like
And also, there are people that might be out at the bar that might not particularly be into the drag show, but
so
there's usually another part of the bar that they go to.
yeah.
Yeah.
Got you. I've only experienced a handful.
I feel like people who say they don't like drag are like the same people you run into that's like, I don't really like music,
Right, exactly.
Like, wait, what? Like you don't like like how do you not like movies or music or performance? But anyways,
Right.
I think we're like close to time, Jessica,
I
right?
think we got maybe 5 minutes.
Oh, okay.
We've got 5 minutes. Well, I guess we need to steer it back towards some finance.
Mhm.
And talking about, exactly, we are in a crowd fund. We are raising, we can raise $5 million in 1 year. That's the max. Nicole and I we don't need that much, but we would take it if everybody wants to come in or wouldn't stop.
We would love it.
Because
Yeah.
there are multiple phases of FISC. FISC mobile tipping is the first one. But Nicole and I know that we need a certain amount of money to have the payment processor and to finish the development of the application. That's going to happen through the crowd fund and the angel investors and VCs. But if you want to come in, and hopefully our community will be investing the first time in a startup, in Nicole and I, and they get to follow an adventure, because this is something that most people, I'd never met anybody that went through a round. Nicole, you had done it once or twice before, helped somebody, but never went through it yourself.
Yeah.
It's not, if you're not an entrepreneur and you aren't creative and you haven't built something that no one's ever seen before, you would never attempt to do this. I guess that's not true, because I talked to Sarah, who's the one that's doing our documentary. She has to raise capital for a movie the exact same way. Which was, when I found out that, I thought that was very strange. But raising the capital, it's like dating somebody or wanting to date somebody. You have to ask them for the money. And
yeah, I've seen the people raising money for movies. They use a number of different platforms, just like we have options, but Indiegogo is a big one. But it's different. Like you can't own ownership in a movie, but it's, you can own ownership in this company here and this product. It's really interesting.
it's you you go on the website to buy stock on Schwab or any of the other ones. You look at a stock, you can read up a little bit about the CEO and the team and what they're doing. But when you're doing a startup, you get to see basically the CEO talking about the application. And, I want to always showcase Nicole and bring her out and have her travel with me. She hasn't gone anywhere with me to do any fundraising. She's always doing the operations behind and allows me to go and do
We
it.
had the golf outing. That was fun.
That was a blast. Did you play golf, April?
I do not. I'm real good with putt-putt though.
I used to be good in college. I'm not gonna lie, everybody. It is different playing golf after the breast augmentation. It is definitely different swinging a club. Nicole,
what's different?
Well, they're in the way sometimes.
What's in the way?
They're not in the way. It's not you're not used to it. Now Nicole, she almost went professional playing golf right before COVID, and then COVID hit. She decided not to hang it up, and then started a ballet studio, and then I pulled her over to that to do this.
All over the place.
Yeah, well,
What's wrong with that?
It's entrepreneur. Once you start to build something and develop something, it's your creative mind is running, is it not? But I love doing it, and I'm going to be doing it for the rest of my life, is building startups, raising funds. I've even got someone, believe it or not, we've got 2 minutes or a minute and a half. Someone wants me to start raising funds for cancer. They want me to raise $50,000, and I'm like, that's not that much money, but I will do it, and I'm glad to do it. Along the same time, I am raising capital for Fisk Mobile Tipping, which gives the financial literacy to a lot of younger adults who are in that industry that have never been offered a platform to invest in. So anyway, everybody, it is 1 minute or 30 seconds away from our closing. I believe, April, are you going to be here next week?
I will be here next week. Yes.
Okay. We're going to try to have another person on the show. I know on the 27th, we have our first financial advisor coming on. I might try to grab another drag queen and bring them on and talk about finance, and that way we can all drill them what they know. April, if there's any other time, you have questions about any type of finance, we know a lot, but on the 27th, the young lady that is coming on, she does that all day long, and she has licenses that we do not have, but we have experience in maybe the venture capital she does not have. So we're all learning from each other, and that will be fun. But anyway, this is the Financial Drag Show. I'm one of your hosts. I'm Jessica.
And I'm April Fresh.
Y'all have an awesome night.